Brought to you by Penguin.
On Natural Capital by Partha Dasgupta. Read by Sid Sagar. Violence may be committed against God when we deny and curse him in our hearts, or when we scorn nature and her bounty. Dante, Inferno. Canto 2, lines 46 to 48. Translation, Robert Hollander and Jean Hollander. Preface. This book has grown out of a report I prepared in 2021 at the invitation of the UK's Chancellor of the Exchequer to write a review of the economics of biodiversity. Behind the invitation was no doubt the feeling, widely shared among the public, that something is not right with the character of economic development the world has experienced in recent decades. It has been rapid, but it has also been accompanied by continual degradation, even desecration of the natural environment. Climate change is one global sign of that degradation. Biodiversity loss is another. Accepting the Chancellor's invitation was easy, as I had been working for more than 4 decades round the idea of biodiversity, on themes across population numbers, our living standards, and the environment. But I also knew what the Chancellor had asked for could not be a review, for there was no economics of biodiversity to review. One could find a substantial body of work in what is known as environmental and resource economics, but it hadn't been put together to create something that could be called the economics of biodiversity. Among other things, population numbers were taken as given in the studies, so possible demographic pressures in the biosphere were not discussed. But even that limited literature was ignored in growth and development economics, and in the economics of poverty. As taught and practiced in academia, national treasuries and international organisations, received economics mentioned nature only in asides. If she was to be found there, it would be as an acknowledgement of climate change, that too as a mere add-on. Why has environmental and resource economics ignored possibly vital factors driving economic change, such as population numbers, and why has the wider body of economics thinking ignored environmental and resource economics? Research in economics, like I imagine in other scientific disciplines, mostly involves working on problems others are also currently working on. Each publication is an incremental step on what has come before. Moreover, we economists work with models of those features of the world we want to study in detail, keeping all else in the background. Models are thus parables, even caricatures. Some say they are like toys. But that is their point, for experience shows that toy models, if constructed with judgment and skill, are illuminating, by which I mean they have explanatory power and are open to empirical testing. Large numerical models, as those in use by national treasuries, central banks, and international organisations, are, of course, necessary for making forecasts and charting options for policy. But here I am talking of models designed to offer insights into the workings of our economies and identifying the scope of policies to improve things. The harder task, and there have been successful attempts from time to time, is to put these tiny models together like pieces of embroidery in what becomes a tapestry, to give us an overarching conceptual framework that ties together a class of seemingly unconnected phenomena. Mostly, though, we economists construct and analyse those tiny models, check whether they add to our understanding, and return to construct further toy models in an iterative process, without necessarily an overarching view, which is to say, at any moment, advances in economics are hugely dependent on what has been accomplished in the recent past. A shift in the agenda of research, even when the evidence calls for it, is often near impossible to bring about. Entities, such as nature, that have been absent in journal articles and textbooks over the years.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?